Hey guys, first regardsman here. Today I'll be talking about a multi-Melta build for the heavy class for both operations and siege mode in patch 8.0 Space Marine 2. Now the multi-Melta is like a top 2 weapon in this whole game. It's really only behind the heavy plasma incinerator, and only because the heavy plasma is better at triple boss damage at range. This thing is just as good, if not better at times, for everything else. And the multi-Melta really is just kind of cracked, super ammo efficient, super busted since launch, and really easy to use, and honestly a lot of fun. Now as far as the variants go for this, you can really take whatever variant you want. I just take the magazine capacity variant because this basically gives us infinite ammo with our auxiliary reload perk at the later waves, because this is percentage based, so the larger amount of ammo you have in your reserves, the more you'll get back from this. And also we want to be able to take restoration for reasons I'll get into shortly over multi-kill, because you really don't need this perk for ammo at all in the actual siege mode. As for our actual weapon perks here, I've decided to take increased capacity first. The maximum ammo reserve of this weapon increases by 20%. This is mainly to get us a better proc off of our auxiliary reload prestige perk. Then I move into elite restoration. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy restores 10% of your maximum ammo reserve. Cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Now this perk is pretty good. This perk down here is, however, better. Performing a finisher on a Majoris level or higher enemy with this weapon restores ammo by 1. There is no cooldown on this. There are a ton of Majoris. Only reason I take this is because otherwise I can't just go all the way into the damage increase and also take trick shot. I'd be forced to go and take the effective range, which is not bad. You just don't really need range that much in the siege mode because there are just so many enemies that you will always be shooting a tremendous amount of them anyways, and is more than effective without any range increases at all. And then I move into the heavy fire here, which is while in heavy stance, fire rate increases by 15%. Pretty self-explanatory, just more fire rate. And then we move into heavy immunity. While in heavy stance, you do not lose control from heavy hits. This perk is incredible. This is no knockback, and no knockback saves your life in this game from stun locks. And the only other way to get this on this build would be to take strategic stand, but fortitude is much better than this now, especially since they nerfed this perk. So this is a great way to get no knockback, pretty much a no-brainer. Now the next perk here is amazing. Executioner's Fire. After a finisher, fire rate increases by 25% for 5 seconds. This is the major damage enabler for us here, and if you take this on the fire rate variant, you do like an absolutely absurd amount of damage at times. And I will say that for this to actually proc, you have to wait for all 5 seconds to go off cooldown. So like you can't have 3 seconds remaining and then like try to proc this again. It will do nothing. You'll just wait for the next one to actually cycle. So just keep that in mind. But in siege mode, you're executing all the time, so it's pretty much always active. Next perk here is Heavy Might. While in heavy stance, you deal 15% more damage. Pretty self-explanatory, just more damage. And then we get into a pretty goated perk. Killing 5 enemies with 1 shot restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Armor in this game is actually very valuable when drip fed. I've talked about this a lot. The way armor works is that if you get a melee hit, you will take 0 damage if there's any armor remaining, even from bosses. And it also has a damage cap against a lot of range attacks in this game, and will also save your life from things like Carnifex artillery fire, Hellbrute shots, stuff like that. And a 30-second cooldown is very long. This is also free armor on top of your perks like restoration and other options. So really, armor regen in this game is very hard to come by, and this is just an incredible perk. And having armor attached to a weapon is very rare in this game. Like, you really have to go to something like the Stalker bolt rifle here. Where are you? Here we are. So Recoupment's like one of the other versions of this. This is probably the best one overall, but the multi-kill here for the 5 shots or the 5 kills to proc this one is very easy to pull off with the multi-Melta for obvious reasons. So pretty S tier perk in my opinion. Next perk we go down is to Heavy Might. While in heavy stance, you deal 15% more damage. Same perk as here. It's just as a 30% damage increase. Honestly, they should just rework these perks and just like build these into like the actual weapon, because there's no reason to ever not take these like over the or take the perks down here over these 2 up here. They're just too mandatory in my opinion. 30% is huge. And then we go into Death Strike. After killing a Majoris level or higher enemy in melee combat, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This will never proc in a million years, but I guess it's cool that you could potentially one day maybe get 25% more damage. And then you go into Increased Capacity. The maximum ammo reserve of this weapon increases by 20%. Good for the same reasons this one was good, because they are the same perk. And then we just get a flat 10% damage increase. Alternatively, you could take this one for when you have low ammo, you deal 25% more damage, but again, this weapon basically has infinite ammo, so half the time this isn't even proccing, but if you want to take this, you can. Now, as far as the actual secondary goes, I have chosen the plasma pistol because plasma it's just the meta in Siege mode currently. The AoE gun strikes on this thing are amazing. Whatever you're losing out on from like the lack of headshot multiplier damage of a heavy bolt pistol, this thing makes up for in just pure value on your gun strikes. Does a tremendous amount of damage, chunks bosses, chunks elites, hits whole Majora's packs, amazing stuff. I always take the magazine capacity variant because the charge up time on this weapon is really not bad at all, and then we just build into ammo capacity for like efficient charge. This perk here is a wasted perk. I've talked about this a lot, but what are you gonna do? That's just the way this perk tree is set up for efficient charge, and honestly, a lot of the perks in this game could use a rework and like their placement, but that's a different video. And as for the actual heavy prestige perks, we do start with Restoration once again. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. You might be wondering why we take this perk over multi-kill, and that's mainly because multi-kill actually does nothing for you in the later waves of Siege mode, which are the hardest waves, mainly because there are so many extremists that auxiliary reload all on its own gives you like infinite ammo, and this is kind of a wasted perk slot at that point. Really, this one only helps you like the first 5 waves, and the first 5 waves are incredibly easy anyways, and Restoration helps you trigger your Conviction perk here, which is when your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. These two cycle into each other, prevents you from getting one shot, and this one also makes you very tanky. Also, just the way that this game works is that you are at your most vulnerable when your armor is gone. That is when you might actually die, especially if you don't have proper contested health recovery at times, which can happen if you're like struggling or getting like knocked around. So this perk, very valuable. It can also trigger off of like, you know, you shoot one spore mine and then they all blow up and you just get an entire armor segment back. Really good stuff, super undervalued, and really armor in this game is quite strong, but only when it's drip fed. Like the armor boosts are way worse than the actual like drip fed armors in most cases, and they're only mainly useful when you're like fighting a boss and there's like 3 of them on you at once. Now, next perk here is Fortitude. Health increases by 30%. This perk makes you absurdly tanky, incredibly valuable. If you want to take these two, well, this one doesn't do anything for you in the multi-melta, but if you want to take a strategic stand, you could, and like forego the heavy immunity perk at the weapon tree. But overall, Fortitude is just incredible on this class. Makes you wildly tanky and super survivable, especially when you combine it with perks like Conviction and Encompassing Aegis. Next perk here is an Overwhelming Power. When Iron Halo is active, all squad members within 10 meters deal 10% more range damage. Damage increases for like pure range buffs are quite hard to come by, and this is a team-wide one for anyone close to you, and just gives you straight up more damage when you're shooting at guys the most, which is when your Iron Halo is active. So, amazing perk here. And then we move into the team perk, Encompassing Aegis. All squad members take 25% less damage from range attacks. This is one of the best team perks in the entire game. A flat 25% damage reduction to all the range attacks in this game is such a chunky number to come across. And really, when you look at the other damage reduction perks in this game, like the Effective Formation, all squad members take 20% less health damage from Extremis and Terminus level enemies. They have so many caveats compared to this one. It just says, oh, it's a Minoris shooting you, it does 25, it has a 25% reduction. Oh, it's a Majoris, doesn't matter. Extremis, Soul Cannon, doesn't matter. And this class also already has a 10% less, a 10% damage decrease while his Iron Halo is active for all squad members. So it's kind of absurd how much damage reduction you really have on this class with Conviction and Fortitude and Encompassing Aegis and your Iron Halo active. You are so damn tanky on the heavy class that he just bodies chaos like nobody else. He really is just a champion of Space Marine 2. There's no class like him. He is by far the strongest class in the game for this reason, especially on the highest waves of Siege mode where you will just get one shot at times. This guy doesn't let that happen. He's just built different. He'd be like that. Heavy is just, Straben is just that guy. That's the best way to put it. Next perk here is Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charge. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk just lets you spam Melta Bombs, and spamming Melta Bombs is the meta pick for Siege mode because blowing shit up is just the path. It's just the one true path. That's the best way to put it. And really, crack grenades need a serious buff if they ever want to compete with how OP Melta Bombs are currently, but I digress. Next perk here is Obdurate Bastion. Iron Halo's durability increases by 20%. This one will let you shoot back at things like the Triple Hellbrutes or the artillery of the Carnifex. Very useful in Siege mode because you get shot by so much. In operations, if you want to take field adjustment, you will get your Iron Halo back because a 20% increase to your charge is very good, and the durability loss really doesn't matter too much. But in Siege mode, sometimes you just need to sit in a corridor and just blast into something, and this will let you do that for longer. Next perk here is just Brute Force, just a straight range damage increase. Really good stuff. You know, this happens all the time. This is pretty much triggered more than your actual overwhelming power is. So this is like a 15% perma buff for your range damage, so pretty much always take this. The signature perk we take is offensive capability. When active, Iron Halo deals damage over time to all enemies within 5 meters. This perk is super undervalued. You know, I only started taking this perk because I was playing solo, and I'm like, okay, conversion field is doing nothing for me, but this perk over time, when you are fighting cultists, you can just walk through them. When you're fighting spore mines, you can just walk through them. It will also destroy all bramble. It gets rid of the most obnoxious things in this game, which are spore mines and bramble. It is so valuable, and really your Iron Halo is active when you're trying to advance the most, and this lets you do that even better. Pretty much always take this, to be honest. And this perk is fucking butt cheeks is the best way to put it. And this perk is good. An ability charge of 50% faster for your team within 20 meters is pretty decent. There are just too many caveats for this one, and sometimes your teammates are split, so this one just does more for you in general and is active all the time. You're getting the full benefit out of this one pretty much every time you hit your Iron Halo. Now, as far as the prestige perks go, we do just take auxiliary reload first. Melee kills of extremis level or higher enemies restore your primary weapon's ammo by 1 magazine. Amazing perk. This is the god tier perk. You know, we talked about this whole video, but this one just gives you infinite ammo. This is almost mandatory. I'm gonna be honest, like, it's impossible or damn near impossible to properly play heavy, especially with the heavy plasma, if you are not using this perk, because this gun is just too ammo inefficient. Even the multi-melta can be too ammo inefficient unless you take multi-kill. So if you are not prestige, or you've only prestige one time, take this perk. Honestly, just ignore all the other ones, or like prestige twice and take these 2 perks because they are by far the most important. And yeah, that's why auxiliary reload is just god tier. Just the best way to put it. Next perk is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. Incredible perk. This one keeps you from getting bursted down and instantaneously dying. It also says when you are at your most vulnerable, you'll take a damage reduction. So pretty much always pick this in any class it's available on, unless there's like a better perk in a tree like the Bulwark, where the Bulwark he has Conviction, but it's in the same tree as Intimidating Aura, so that's like a real choice to make. But on this guy, it's a no-brainer. Now, for the next perk, we take Indomitable Spirit. While performing a gun strike, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. This perk just lets you gun strike in areas you otherwise could not. It also lets you shoot a face-checking Biovore. I always take this because it just gives you more options, and really the other perks in this tree aren't that good anyways, so Indomitable Spirit is just the way to go. Next perk here is kind of a choice. So these 2 are butt cheeks, but this one is very good against Minoris enemies. Unfortunately, in Siege mode, there are so many Extremis and so many Majoris that you are not stomping that much at all. So if you want to take Duelist, you can. I was wrong about this perk previously. This perk is not as good as I originally thought it was, because the way that your parry works on the heavy class is you have a balanced parry window. Like, he has hard locked the balanced parry window. That's like the only downside of this entire class. And because of that, the first 10 frames of your parry window are a negative frame startup, and you cannot get a perfect parry off if you do not like preemptively hit your parry button. So you'll just auto block, and then after that window is done, you'll have 30 active frames where you can parry, and this perk only affects those frames, so it does nothing for your startup. You'll just be stuck with the balanced parry window, and this means it will only actually benefit you if, like, a lictor is attacking you, you catch them on the parry window, or you miss, and then you catch them at the last little bonus 25% to your 30 active frames, which isn't terrible. It does happen, like, sometimes, but overall it's just not that beneficial, only because that's a very niche scenario. But if you want to take this, you certainly can over this perk here, but I just take this for Siege mode because, I don't know, sometimes I stomp my Norse. That's really the reason. So that's most of what I have to say for the multi-melta build, though I do want to mention that if you want to build into the rate of fire or range version, you can. Magazine capacity of 20 really is not that bad, and honestly, auxiliary reload is so broken in this game that you'll probably have infinite ammo anyways. I just prefer the magazine capacity variant because I get to shoot gun more, and I can be a little more careless. That's the main reason. But that is pretty much all I have to say for the build, and now it's off to the actual gameplay for a Wave 15 Siege mode. See you there. So we still have all our points. We're just going to buy a tactical bot for this. Pretty much, you only have to buy a Dreadnought on these waves here for like triple boss spawns. It's really not necessary until like the wave 15 plus. All you really want to buy is like an Astartes reinforcement, like some armor boost, and like stims maybe, and that's more than enough for like 99% of encounters in this game. Because if you're trying to push the highest waves, Dreadnought is not that good, especially since there are fewer bosses past wave 15 now. So their damage, it gets crazy. Let's buy tactical. And like an armor boost here and some stims, so that should be good. though. I think I just wasted my money on Sims here. It's okay. Let's get Melta bomb from him. I'll do mine next. So once you buy a tactical bot in the heavy, you kind of become OP. I mean, you're already pretty OP, but like you're extra OP now. And that 20% range damage increase is kind of insane, especially on the heavy plasma.
You shall be honored for this, brother. Our presence. Ravener put down. Our brother requires our aid.
Alright, they should be spawning soon here.
Specialized bug. I am detained.
Wow, silent flicker, that's a current bug in this patch.
Good teamwork.
I guess I'll do this. I got Silent Pox, Burster, and Dark Tide. Maybe it's not a bug, maybe just put that in, you never know. You never know with game devs, they are evil sometimes.
Reports of a command presence on the battlefield. You may be in for a challenging fight.
Right, Crown Defense. Nerf Nerf Throat's kind of suck for us, but...
Target seen on fire.
Oh, we're in the corner. Not exactly the most optimal location for us, but that's okay.
Afflicted brother requests support. Maximizing efficiency by attacking the strongest foes.
Just do that. Laying some damage for free. All we can. Oh, there's our enabler. Yeah, Auspex with those classes. Very good.
Iron Table online.
We did get pretty massively there, we're still gonna be fine. Gotta kill this guy. Oh, that does suck though. How much we can do about that? A wave here.
Intercepting projectiles.
I'll kill him. We took too much damage over there, but that's fine. With these two dead, it'd be pretty easy to clear out whatever's left.
Now for the others. High priority tyranny eliminated. Observe ground movement. Ravener kill confirmed. Prioritize the larger threats.
Fire rate increase. Let's use that to kill this guy here.
Kill confirmed. Major tyranny threat. Tyranid Lictor knows our locus. No explosive. Ready. Destroy spore mines.
There's the Spanish bug.
Iron Halo online. Elite level Xenos. Pass it on.
That's sad. Unfortunately, he's Guardian Relic, but that's okay. So that's pretty much all you have to do with the multi-melta. You just turn off your brain and shoot the enemy. And hopefully don't get chain stunned by artifacts and such, and you'll be fine. You also do pretty decent damage from your ropes. Not as good as like a soccer ball rifle, but
Predatory class turret eliminated.
they do be like that sometimes. But hopefully this build guide helped you. Hope you have an understanding how to play the multi-melta, which is pretty faithful. But that's all for this one, guys. Until next time, if you like content like this, subscribe for more. Take it easy.